Fumasi here in the studio. Roland, thanks for joining us.
Got it.
Roland is Vice President, Senior Analyst for Rabobank's Food and Agribusiness Division. And we're going to talk a little bit about online shopping. You know, when I think about online shopping, I don't think about fresh produce, but apparently that is becoming more and more popular, isn't it, Roland?
That's absolutely right. I bet when you do think of online shopping, you think of Amazon.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And one of the latest entrants into the online grocery channel is Amazon, Amazon Fresh specifically. And so what we're seeing, Bill, right now is particularly in the heavy metro areas, a lot of people, high population density, there's a great amount of investment going into the idea of online grocery shopping. So in the past, it's been kind of dominated in the U.S. by regional players, niche players, for example. But because those players are taking market share from some of the larger chains, now you're seeing some of the largest grocery chains in the country enter the space. Walmart, for example, the largest food retailer in the country. Amazon, which I mentioned, which is probably one of the most recognized retail brands on the internet, period. And so it's expected that online grocery shopping in general is going to double in the next 3 years in the U.S. and in the next 8 years, roughly 15 to 17% of groceries could be bought online in the U.S.
Wow. And you're getting this information from this new paper that you put out, is that right?
Yeah, we just put out a new research note specifically about online grocery and its impacts on fresh produce.
Yeah. So what does this mean for the farmer that's producing this produce?
Yeah, there's a few different impacts. You know, one of the biggest impacts of grocery moving online is the increased control that the retailer has over what the consumer sees and when they see it. And if you think about that, you know, they've got unlimited space, virtual unlimited space online, but there's only, you know, the screens are only so big. And so this greater control, retailers will heavily promote high margin, high traffic items that are frequently shopped, and fresh produce definitely fits into that category. So one of the benefits is I think it's going to help drive demand for fresh produce overall as this online channel comes about. Anything that helps drive demand helps support good prices. So that's one of the impacts.
We hear about this, you know, farm to fork or farm to table movement. You know, well, farm to retailer. It sounds like here this is really going to strengthen that relationship in some way, I would think, huh?
Absolutely. You know, one of the big parts of that is transparency. You know, consumers today want to understand exactly where their food comes from, where it's grown, how it's shipped, how it's packed. And in the online space, there are no excuses for not supplying that information because there's a place to put it. You know, consumers will expect it to be a click away. You know, the track record of where that fresh produce came from. So it creates an opportunity for further engagement all the way from the farm, the packer, the shipper, for them to tell the story about their companies, their farms, and exactly where that produce came from. And the consumer will expect that online.
Yeah. Amazon Fresh, you say, huh? That's interesting. Yeah. I don't think I've heard that. Is that new, or is that just coming out?
Amazon Fresh, it's rough. Over the last 18 months,
okay,
they've done quite a bit of an investment in that. And Amazon, being such a big name on the internet, has kind of hurried up the battle, if you will. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the large traditional grocery chains, like Walmart, like Kroger, feel compelled to enter the space to protect and potentially gain market share.
Is the U.S. leading the way on this? Or is
that's a great question. Actually, the UK is leading the way. In the UK right now, the estimate is that about 7% of groceries are purchased online, where in the U.S., the last estimate we have is at roughly 4% is online.
So how does that work? Does that just come straight from the the supermarket to your home, or is there a middleman there?
It depends on the business model. So, and right now different retailers in the U.S. are experimenting with different models. So one model would be if you have brick and mortar stores, you would actually fulfill yours or mine or my order from the physical shelves in the store. So you'd have someone who's an employee of the retailer pick our basket, if you will, get it all put together, and could either get it to us through curbside pickup, what they might call click and collect, where you drive to a particular spot and you pick it up curbside, they bring it out to your car, or it could be home delivery. The other fulfillment model would be a distribution or fulfillment center where the product is actually picked from a large distribution hub or center, which is not it's not a retail market. So those are a couple of the different ways that this works, and that's one of the reason why I think it's important for the produce supply chain to get involved now is that these different models are still being developed. Retailers in the U.S. are still trying to figure out which one works best for them, and I think progressive produce suppliers who engage those retailers now and open up a dialogue and help them, provide them solutions to these questions, I think we'll have an advantage by acting early.
Well, that's obviously got to be top of mind, something to think about, because if you're doing projections or trends, this isn't just a trendy thing. This is something that's going to increase through the years. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Anything else you want to enlighten us on in that subject that we didn't touch on, or?
I think the important take-home messages are that online groceries here, particularly in the metro, the urban areas right now, it's growing fast as large retailers are entering the market, and so it's an opportunity for the produce value chain to get involved early and make sure that we're getting the consumer what they demand.
Okay. Well said. Thank you. Roland Fumasi here from Rabobank. He's the Vice President and Senior Analyst here at World Egg Expo. You stop by the Rabobank booth, right? You have a booth here?
Absolutely. We're in the Dairy Pavilion.
Okay. See you there.